And welcome back, everyone, to Turnpike Takes. It is officially March. My name is Andrew Heffner alongside my co host Dylan Shaw, and today we are welcoming Billy Bissell of Fox Sports New Jersey. It's great to have you, Billy. Thanks so much for coming
No,
on today.
thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so like I said, it is March, which means March Madness is fast approaching, but it is conference tournament week, and so far we've already seen a couple not so favorable results for our New Jersey teams. But there's one in particular that today had a pretty outstanding game, and one that's going to go down in their school history as their first ever America East conference tournament game win. FDU took down Maine 60 to, or NJIT, excuse me, took down Maine 60 to 58 on an Ari Fulton game winner with zero point 0.3 seconds left at home. They're going to head up to Vermont in just a couple of days to face the number 2 seed. But I mean, Billy, what were your immediate reactions to this game? We knew NJIT was going to be one of those top teams that might be looking to make it to March this year.
This is March. I mean, it was great stuff from the Highlanders. It was tough because they finished the season off horribly. I'm pretty certain they lost four straight games to end the year, maybe five. So it looked bleak, and maybe they just got to get punched in the mouth to finish the season for them to actually get back in the swing of things. Big win against Maine. I mean, like it was back and forth the entire game. I think the after the first half, it was oh my gosh, it was barely above 30 after the first. Ari Fulton, one of the guys who's been here, he's one of the I guess even though I think he's a sophomore or junior, one of the longer tenured Highlanders there. But they did retain a lot of their roster, and that was a big plus going into tournament play and just going into this regular season. Immediate reaction though, I mean, the guy's a player. The guy's a hooper. Like he's seriously, Ari Fulton has been one of the better players. He's a walking double double for the Highlanders. I think he one of the three players in America East to average at least 10 points and 5 rebounds in the entire season. So he's a stud. He can score from everywhere. Big game coming against Vermont soon, and they beat him once. So I think they split the season series. So it should be really fun. That's a big win for the Highlanders to get back just to get things just get right to really just get right.
Yeah, and like honestly, that crowd for the Highlanders was just a great turnout because like some of these games I've been watching, the neutral site games for some of the conference tournaments, I just don't like them. I like how the America East has the higher seeds, they host the games, the fans come out, the all white, the whiteout for NJT with the game winner was just a great scene. And yeah, what a moment for Ari Fulton in his sophomore year, just kind of coming alive as one of their best players. But obviously, I want to shout out Sebastian Robinson, the junior from Montclair, who he's been like one of their best players, probably one of the best this year, and he put up 21, really led the team like throughout the entire game to even get to that moment. And obviously playing against Ace Flag, brother of Cooper Flag, he had a great game for the Maine Black Bears. But this is why NJIT at one point in this conference was the second seed before they've had this recent fall off. And that's why I really think that this game against Vermont is just way more winnable than anyone's gonna make it seem like because as you said, Billy, they have split the season series and Vermont is susceptible to a loss here. And so I'm really looking to the Highlanders to take this momentum into Vermont and hopefully pull off a big time win in the semifinals.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing to look out for too is how can David Bolden continue to play this well? Because the freshman is not like watching him in person. I went to that horrendous UMBC game to finish the season. That was terrible. Like that was the worst basketball I've seen all season, probably from a Jersey school. UMBC looks, I mean, no pun intended, they look like a bunch of dogs. They ran NGIT off the floor the entire way. But you could see flashes with Bolden. I mean, that's why he was America East Rookie of the Year for a reason. The kid knows how to play. He has a certain poise to himself. Like he has a certain bounce going up and down the floor that I think is if they can keep him for next season. I mean, I'm talking about next season now. I'm not even thinking about what's going on in the tournament. They can keep him for next season. Oh my gosh, they have their point guard at least. But going into this next game, I mean, they got Yalden. I think it's TJ Yalden. I think they're big for Vermont. Who he's a force. He's just like a big center who lives around the blocks, and he's efficient. He knows how to get to his post move. So the the NGIT front line is going to have some work to do against him specifically. They're going to have to force him to dish out to their shooters, and if they can knock down shots, it's going to be a tough night for the Highlanders. But I'm excited, man. Ivan Coley, he's a solid big. He's got a nice package of post moves. He can get exposed sometimes. Maybe his decision making has to be a little quicker, but I still like their chances. I mean, it's anyone's game, really. This is a very winnable game. It's on the road, so it's gonna be tough. But if David Bolden can continue to play lights out, stretch the floor, play with that poise, Sebastian Robinson, who is one of my favorite players to watch because he's such an excellent shot maker. I love his mid range game. It's so pure. He's an excellent playmaker getting downhill. They just got to get more consistent play and a little more intense defense. They got a shot against Vermont.
Yeah, and David Bolden, I mean, he burst onto the scene in that first game, 18 points versus Fordham to open up the season, and I think NJIT at that point knew that they were going to have something special there. Dylan, as you were saying, there were 1,300 people in the building today in Newark, New Jersey. So again, a bigger crowd than I think they're pulling down at the MAAC tournament right now in Atlantic City. I know that was a topic of discussion as well, if that would be moving to Albany. Of course, there's an MAC rebrand coming as well. But for right now, the team to really watch out of New Jersey in that tournament was going to be St. Peter's. And they clinched the number 2 seed in that tournament. And really, they should have had a chance, and they should have beaten Fairfield last night, and they did not. It was in the quarterfinals of the MAAC tournament, and they fell to a team that they had beaten previously this season and a team that they should have beaten again. And they came out swinging, and really they fell behind pretty early in the first half and just were never able to work their way back.
Yeah, I mean, like I understand they in the season series they won both meetings away and home. Both like one by was for by 4 points, but the other one by a good margin, and they just came out pretty flat in this one. It's just really upsetting to see because I was really high on the Peacocks this year, and they're always kind of like that March team where everyone's like they turn out and they always make madness. Like a couple years, obviously the Elite Eight run, but they also made it, I think, the next year, the year before, with the loss to Tennessee in the first round. But they're always there. And this season, I thought Brett Bland was like gonna kind of lead this team, but only 11 points in Fairfield, pretty inefficient shooting night. And honestly, I don't think they kind of drove enough plays for him. I think 11 shots, although he wasn't hitting, I think it's not enough for Bland. I think they needed to get him more looks because Fairfield, they were hitting on all marks. Brandon Benjamin was great yesterday. He was the freshman for them. He had 26, and yeah, as you're saying, like this was a halftime, it was a tie game, but Fairfield came quick at a half, and they kind of took over this game real quick to a blowout.
I mean, like I said on this show, we for our show for on Fox Sports Radio Jersey, crashing the boards. I want to see those Peacocks fly, even though they can't fly. They can't fly, and they lost. They got bounced out. They're going back home. I mean, it's not that long of a ride, I guess. Like one of the one Jersey teams that's just down the shore. They take a bus there. They don't even have to fly out. Like they take a bus, and they come out flat. They come out flat. I don't know if it's a momentum thing if Fairfield because they played before, so they had a bit of a rhythm, and the Peacocks came out cold because they didn't play that first game. I thought about this, and I was at the Seton Hall game while this was happening. I had it on my other tab, and I'm just like checking back and forth, and I'm looking. They're down like double digits. I think it was 8 minutes or like the second part of the second half. Unbelievable. Unbelievable stuff. I got to rewatch the game just to kind of like really lock in to see what led to that collapse. But what I can think of just like off the top of my head from what could have happened, because this would happen in a lot of their losses on the road because they can't win on the road. They had like one of the worst records on the road, unless if it's at Yanatelli, oh, good night. Like they had one loss the entire season. But on the road, oh my gosh, it's a different story, a completely different team. It felt like they would go into their zone and they'd get eaten alive, and then they would fail to adjust. Sometimes they wouldn't go back to their man-to-man, and then it'd be too late. And then, of course, if they can't hit shots, like Zakir Williamson is a beast down low. But if he's not able to set the table, he's not able to establish himself in the post, and they have to rely on other outside shooters aside from Bland, and if you got a guy like Eric Morgan Jr. who isn't hitting. Ja'Kai Gupton, who I went to one of the games, I think in Manhattan, their senior night. He was lights out. I think he hit four threes in that game. But if he's not hitting from deep, then of course Bryce Eaton, if he's not winning his one-on-one matches because they love to let him isolate and kind of do his thing, if he's not winning at least at a 60, if he's not winning 60% of the time in isolation, they don't have a lot of other scores that can create for themselves from themselves aside from Bland. TJ Robinson's nice, he can get to the rim, but then I think he's a below 20%, he's like a below 25% shooter from deep. They have no one else to space the floor. So just off the top of my head of what could have gone wrong, that's what went wrong. They didn't even get to 60 points in this game. Like it's the writing could have been on the wall for this team to be a first round exit, and it happened.
Yeah, and Bryce Ian alongside Brent Bland were those two, I would say, prolific scorers for St. Peter's this year. I think Bryce Ian came in as the more hyped of the two, returning back after a pretty good season last year. But his flaw is his consistency, and it didn't improve at all this year. He shot 36.5% from the field, averaged 11.1, and that was even more evident last night as he went 1 for 9 from the field, 0 for 3 on triples. And listen, it's just an extremely, extremely rough way to lose this game, especially where you're at a point where they were tied 16-16 and then tied 18-18 in the first, and they ended up going pretty much falling apart after that, heading into the half, only down by 2, and then it just fell apart from there. And probably by the U4, it was a Fairfield win already. So it's rough that they were able to fall out of it that quickly and then really had no chance of return. I thought that really this team was a fighting team that stayed in games all season, even when they started to fall behind late in games, and they won a lot of matchups that way this year, big games as well. So it's an upsetting end, mostly because I was really hoping St. Peter's, we'd get to see them in March again, because like Dylan was saying, they're one of those more famous March teams. Of course, they have the history of the last couple of years behind them. But yeah, it clearly wasn't in the cards this year.
Like what kills it even more is just like every team that is left alive in this tournament, besides obviously like even including Fairfield, they have beaten this season at least one time. Every single team, Merrimack, Siena, Marist, Quinnipiac, Mount St. Mary's, and Fairfield. Every team that's even close to them in the standings, they have beaten. And so there's not a team that the Peacocks are going to being like, no, this is not a game we can win. Like every game was there. It was just I think they overlooked Fairfield, looking ahead to a semifinal game where it would be a better matchup. Almost seeing like we have beat this team 2 times. This is not going to be a hard game, and I think that Fairfield's coming in with the we have nothing to lose type of mindset. And like as you said, like after halftime, it just was like Fairfield's game to lose, or St. Peter's game to lose, Fairfield's game to win.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's a sad way to go out for the Peacocks. I was so high on them going into the MAC tournament. Merrimack was the team to beat. They beat them at home. It really could have been anyone's tournament down in Atlantic City. Peacocks came out flat.
yeah, and another team that I was hype about, and really I think a game that could have been won even though they were the lower seed. FDU went on the road in the NEC tournament. That's another one where they're going to be playing at those conference sites. They went out to Mercyhurst, and even though Mercyhurst was the 3 seed, Fairleigh Dickinson the 6, I think they had a lot more momentum. They were also 2-0 versus Mercyhurst this year. And they stuck with them for much of the game. They fell behind in the second half, and kind of towards the end, there were some turnovers. There were shots, wide open shots even, that didn't fall for some of FDU's best players. And it's a disappointing loss as well when you know how hard FDU has been fighting to keep this a season where they had a chance to go pretty far in this conference tournament, or even maybe earn a bid, where they were beating a lot of the best teams in the NEC. And it's a rough way to go out there. Hopefully they kind of keep working the portal because this was a completely revamped team. I think I saw in the game notes when they played St. Peter's earlier in the season that this is one of if not the tallest team they've ever had, because FDU is one of those teams that's kind of known for being a bit undersized and more shifty, especially with the teams that they've carried into March in previous years. So completely revamped team. The experiment worked, I would say, for the most part, but you got to be able to finish out some of these games against teams that you know you could beat.
Like, it's gonna help when you have one of the taller teams in the league. When you got a 7-footer, Kirill Martinov, in the middle, and Arthur Cox is not a small dude either. But they're a team that is another inconsistent team. That's the one like thing you'll see about every single one of these Jersey teams is inconsistency on offense. They're gonna play hard. Every single one of them plays hard. FDU, that was the first game that I went to this year. They were one of the most intense and physical teams, and they lost. I think they played. This was in non-conference play. I think this was against Army. Against Army, they lost, but they had really tough defense. It was just really inconsistent scoring. You didn't really know where it was going to come from. Like Joey Neesman, who's third team NEC, was a stud this season. You could tell, was their leader. He's a vote of confidence. You know who I love though? Tashad Jackson. Like that guy it was nice. He could fly in and grab rebounds, control the glass, but he's not an amazing 3-point shooter. Arthur Cox got hot at the end, shooting it from deep, and then that was kind of it. Eric Parnell, he's a good shooter. Like I think he's shown he can be, but he have stretches, man, where he would just go ice cold. He was really streaky. And I think that also led to their downfall. They just streaky shooting. Kirill Martinov also, I watched him a few times in person. You need him because his paint presence is there on defense. But man, he misses some sitters. Like he's underneath the basket. And he's just like rolling off the rim. I'm just perplexed every single time. Like you could tell he knows what he's doing to an extent. Like I no hate. He just misses them. I just plain and simple. You would think he'd be a more efficient player, but again, inconsistencies on offense killed them.
Yeah, I'm not like no expert by no means, but I've watched enough college basketball in my life to know that if you're a mid-major team, no matter what conference you are, no matter like how good you normally are, you have to be able to shoot the ball 1 through 5, at least 1 through 4, at a high rate to be able to be like win your conference tournament is one thing. To be a March Cinderella run, have to be able to shoot the ball. Name any like team that's pulled off an upset, like take Princeton from the Arizona year in 2022 where they pulled out the 15-2 upset. That team could shoot the ball. And they could shoot the ball lights out, and they've always had. That's what an Ivy League special is, right? I didn't see that, as you're saying, in FT. That's where they kind of faltered down the stretch here and lost the games against Mercenaries where they should have won. They were inability to make the big shots. I was kind of tracking this game. I couldn't watch it. Didn't have this ESPN Plus, right? But I was kind of tracking this game, and down the stretch, this was like a 2-point game. I think they cut it to 2 at one point
Mm-hmm.
late, and then I think they missed like 5 threes in a row or something. I was like, and
Bricking.
they had chances at it, and they just couldn't convert. And like any team that is like who is running the table in their conference or like even at the top of the ranks, even St. Peter's, like they have some better shooters. I just think FTU didn't have that this year. And I think that's almost like a sign like they need to go get a guy that can shoot the ball. If it's a freshman, if it's a transfer, if it's someone like get a guy who's a lights out shooter. Get your like re just not even revamp the team. Try to continue with this team. Like, it was a good team. The height is always something that's going to benefit a team that's in the NEC because they probably had the tallest roster in the NEC by average, and that's going to take you somewhere. But add a shooter to that roster, like work on some schemes there and knock down some shots. I really see this FTU team. Their ceiling is through the roof for next year, especially since this is like the first year, as Andrew was saying, with this new style of building a roster and to come out and make the quarters, to be in the middle of the pack in NEC is not a bad start, and I think that they're 1 or 2 steps away from really taking the next leap
They got
that they
some young
want.
guys too. Like David Yevtek just won Rookie of the Year too. Well, you don't have to look at like the numbers don't really show like him as like his outstanding player, but he was better than the rest of the freshmen. So they already have some young players that can actually hoop too. It's just a matter of building off of that, getting some more shooters, and it's a common theme with these Jersey teams. I mean, listen, I just watched Seton Hall just lose a game against St. John's. They hit 1 3. It wasn't until 50 seconds left in the game where they hit their first 3-pointer. They won a game by not making a single three. They went 0 of 16. I don't know what it is with Jersey. Can we shoot the basketball?
I mean,
Please.
The Seton Hall thing is unreal. I can't. The amount of
Unbelievable.
times that they've gotten games shooting like under five made threes. That UConn game, the first one, where
Yep.
that was such an easy game to win with how good they were playing, and they completely lost it. Just can't
Yep.
inability to shoot the one. The Georgetown game, as you were saying, I don't know how they won that game,
No idea.
but it's unreal that they can't get shooters. Like these are that is a big East team that can't make wide open threes and like their star point guard Bud Clark doesn't even shoot the ball. He knows like they're sagging off him because he can't shoot it. He's a 6'2" guard. Like what are we doing?
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the upsetting news off of the St. John's loss is that really the at-large bid hopes are
You got
non-existent
to win
at
the
this
Big
point.
East.
Right, and they're 0 for 6 against the trio of St. John's, UConn, Villanova, and those are going to be your biggest competition heading into this tournament. And we went from a point where Dylan, I mean, we remember filming in December, January. We live streamed during that USC game out in Maui, um, and we were at the highest of highs. This is going to be the season where Seton Hall has built a team that's going to make it to March. They have at-large bid hopes. They're beating some of these teams even after the Villanova loss, which I think was the first real, I would say, flaw in the system of how hyped everyone was for Seton Hall this season. There was still a chance that this team would be able to maybe even make it deep in the tournament and earn that bid another way. But listen, this is one of, I mean, we talked about it with NJIT at the end of the season, with St. Peter's, how they played down the stretch. This is such an upsetting uh, way for this season to kind of come to a close because I like to be optimistic. I like to root on these New Jersey teams, but it does not look good heading into this Big East tournament.
I mean, that no. I want to be an optimist too because it's not over because you never know. And they're gonna have to play. I don't know what the official matchup is. It was DePaul or Creighton. And
Yep.
DePaul is a team that's beat them twice, so DePaul is the better team than Seton Hall. Like that, they proved it. They proved it. They beat them twice. Crazy. And listen, I think also, and to give Seton Hall some credit, the Big East is a better conference than people give them credit for. The Big East is a good conference. Like it's, I'm not saying it's like SEC level. It's not, or like maybe it's not really Big 12. Like the talent pool is different. I'm telling you, the way that these guys play, from top down, almost anyone can beat anyone. Like it is a good conference. It's well coached. I think like losses to DePaul, like, even though Georgetown's not having a great year, like it's still going to be a tough matchup going against them just because the coaches in the league are so good.
Yeah, I mean you saw Marquette beat UConn today. It's,
There you go. My
anyone can
point.
win.
My point exactly. So it's a very good conference. That being said, I still want to believe that Seton Hall just can't shoot at the Prudential Center. That's just what I want to say. I just think there's a lid on the rim that comes down that we don't see it. It's on both teams too. It's not just on Seton Hall. It's on both sides. It just comes down and it stays there for like the entire game, and they can't shoot because when they go away, somehow they're elite shooters. They actually score. Like the UConn game on the road when they also should have won, they hit 8 threes, 8 or 9 threes. Unbelievable stuff. So that's my mini spiel on that. I think they got to. I still think like I'm not gonna count Seton Hall out of it. They play hard, and that's gonna get you somewhere in the tournament. You just got to hit some threes.
And you're saying that UConn game. I think two games this season just that I've watched, the USC game and UConn game, the second one, the refs have just taken the game away from
Yeah,
the Pirates almost. I think that's like the USC game was one thing. That was like unreal, the
unreal.
foul call late, but even the UConn game, people were calling them out. Like, I don't know if that was like really that bad because I wasn't watching it live, but what I heard was that there's some egregious foul calls and or no calls. Um, so yeah, they have like that is like basically like you're right there with UConn, right? That's the game that people were saying you could have won. So you just gotta like honestly, it's like weird. They've played better against St. John's and UConn than they have against DePaul, or even like some of the middle pack teams. And it's almost like this year, if the Big East, if this was Seton Hall season last year in the Big East, they'd be in the tournament right now. They would.
Hmm.
It's just people are saying the SOS, right? Like and like because they're not playing good enough teams, their net ranking's not too high. Lunardi in his recent bracketology, this was before the St. John's game, obviously had him in the next four out, which is 73 to 76. So now they're gonna be out of there. And I think that because of how weak the conference is, you can't even make the final. Like you can't even make the championship and lose to UConn, say, and you're still gonna be out, which is
That
just
yeah.
it's hard because I'm not ruling it out. Like I really think that Seton Hall can win any game that if they play well enough, but to go on the run and to win it all is not going to be an easy task, and to not have any like leeway here is going to be a task to say
Just
the least.
to quickly hammer this point, it's the Big East conference itself maybe isn't like nationally that recognized as a like a you know a top level conference, but I just feel the competition because it's a different whistle in the Big East than you'll see at any other conference. I feel at least that even though they're only going to get what is it, three teams? You'll get three
Yeah.
teams maybe from the Big East. That obviously leaves out like the DePaul and Seton Hall. It's tough, so they're not going to get that much recognition. They're not going to get a chance to go to the dance. But I'm telling you, like that's why like the UConn and like St. John's is tough because they just can't shoot that well. Like they all have like that thing where like I mean they play hard, but this is a good conference. It's just maybe it's just not at that level of like the SEC or Big 12 or even Big
Yeah.
10.
Yeah, I mean, I know Dylan is a big Rutgers fan, so we have this argument often about like SEC or Big Ten in football or what's going on in basketball conferences, especially at a point where like I'm covering all these kind of more mid-major teams, especially Ivy League teams, where it's like, where does the Ivy League fall in anything in any sport? You don't really know
Yeah.
what their strengths are. But yeah, I think that it's like I said and like you were saying, it's a completely different game in the Big East. I mean, you're seeing Hurley run into referees today on national television, and just some good stuff. But at least it always provides some good form of entertainment. And I'm sure that still at MSG this coming week there's going to be some entertaining matchups. Um, the last team that still technically has an ability to head to March, the three are Seton Hall, NJIT, and Monmouth, who is going to play their first conference game tomorrow as the 4 seed in the CAA. It's going to be in Washington, D.C., with Drexel, the 5 seed, acting as the visiting team there. And Dylan, I wish we had talked about the story of Monmouth more this season, because they've now won 5 of their last 7 to round out conference play. They were 11-7, 17-14 overall, and they're on that 3 game win streak. But this is a conference that the best team is UNCW with a 15-3 conference record, then Charleston and Hofstra. This is a completely winnable conference tournament for Monmouth, and I have no doubt in my mind that once they go out there and maybe have a pretty strong game against Drexel, there's a good chance that they're going to go on a run here.
Yeah, man, just take this conference one step at a time because looming in the distance are the UNC Wilmington Seahawks, and they are a powerhouse of the CAA. I just if I'm the Hawks right now, I am completely focused on Drexel, completely focused on if you win that game, your semifinal matchup because or I don't even know I think it might be UNCW in the quarters in the semis, but they are a good team. But I think Monmouth, like they match up somewhat decently. Jason Rivera Torres, he's inconsistent. He takes a lot of shots, but when he's hot, oh God, he can really light it up. So, like, I really think they need to hope that he performs really well. Just goes on a little run here. I think Drexel, they should hopefully take care of them. Drexel by no means is a bad team, but I think that Monmouth kind of just has been playing better as of late, as you're saying. They won 6 out of their last 8. This involved a 20-point win at Drexel. So we've seen Fairfield, who like St. Peter's won both games during the season. That like none of that matters, but they can definitely beat them. They're riding a winning streak right now. So I like this team a lot.
I was at the Monmouth Drexel game where Drexel gave them straight belt, and so like they can lose to Drexel because they've done it. They've lost them before. But like you said with Jason Rivera Torres, the guy can get hot. And I think what is another reason for his inconsistent play is that he's guarding 94 feet. Like he picked up, I went to the Stony Brook game and he picked up Eric Pratt every single possession until he got ejected. The entire way until he spit on a fan. That was crazy. And he was doing a good job. And when I was watching some of his Monmouth games, I did question some of his defense because it's not physical. He's not really getting up in anyone's face. He reminds me of, and maybe this is a slight, but I don't intend it as a slight, as like Mikal Bridges' defense, where he's not overly physical, but he just has really long arms. So he does this chase style defense that works for him because he can recover well and he gets in the passing lanes. So he gets a lot of steals. So he leads the CAA in steals, and he was first team all league defense for a reason. Leads the league in steals. I think he's like top 5 in blocks too. So he knows how to use his physical attributes. But when he gets hot from scoring, he gets to his spots. Oh my gosh, he gets to that flow state, and he's tough to guard. Then they have other shooters, and since they got their point guard, Kavion McLean, it's been a different ball club because he's a confident player. He's another small guard who I think even King Rice said post game that he's gonna have to have more confidence taking him out of games because of how good and how impactful he is on the floor. So having him as the main distributor takes the weight off of Jack Collins, who can now fit into that role as that Swiss Army knife, that high energy, high motor guy, can hit some threes. Takes the stress away from like guys like Justin Wright, who comes off the bench now, who can just be a sniper. He's one of the best shooters in the league too. Stefanos Spartalis, like he's a solid rookie. He does good things. He's physical. There are times where I feel like you just want a little bit more out of him too. But I still think like overall this unit can win some games. Like they can just stay connected a little bit more defensively. Like Andrew Ball coming off the bench too. Doc Mortar, who's like this kind of long 7-footer who he's active. He's like he provides a lot of length around the rim. He's a solid player. I mean, like I think if they can just start to be like if they can just have that physicality, a little bit more of that physicality, that punch, and let those shooters like Justin Ray, of course Jason Rivera Torres, Andrew Ball start to get hot. I think they got a real shot competing with definitely UNCW that they almost beat. Charleston was a tough match. That was tough. They barely had that one. They could definitely make a run in this tournament. I'm going to be going to DC on Sunday to watch that game, and hopefully I'll be there for that Monday and Tuesday as well. I'm excited to see them.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it's going to
honestly.
be an exciting tournament, and I think everything you're saying about it's really come together for Monmouth in the last couple of games because Kavion McLean, he's only played 8 games this season. He's started all of them, but his shooting as of late, I mean, I can check what his efficiency is, but it's yeah, like 51%. It's not it's better than you would expect for a player who's just starting off the season pretty late. He's an undersized guard, like you said. He's at 5'10", but he has been a huge spark to this Monmouth team as of late since he's returned. Like 24 games against 24 points against Northeastern, 16 Elon, 15 Stony Brook. He's been contributing in big ways, and even he had 11 assists against Northeastern as well, just a couple days ago. So that's a strong double-double, and hopefully he's a player that's both going to be making plays, scoring the points himself, and getting those big buckets versus Drexel.
With McLean, they haven't lost a game to a team that is below them or even with like around them in the conference standings. The only two losses, obviously, to Charleston,
Hmm.
UNCW, right? But that's what you see with McLean. Like he almost like he's one, he's a spark, but two, he's a point guard. And a point guard, a true point guard, can kind of direct a team. And yes, they didn't pull up the upset victory against other two teams, but they were in both those games against Charleston, UNCW. But not losing to Elon, Northeastern, Stony Brook, whatever, like Townsend, is showing you that they will hopefully get through the preliminary round right now. And then it's taking that one game. And I know, like we were saying earlier, like Riviera Torres get hot for one game because this team, like with McLean, is way better than where they are without him. And they were already a somewhat decent team without him. Add him to the roster. This is like miles different. This is a team that I don't think Wilmington wants to play. I don't think Charleston wants to play. So yeah, I really like them. I'm hoping they don't come out flat like other teams have tomorrow or when I think yeah, tomorrow. Like that's what I'm hoping for. I just want this team to give themselves a chance because we've seen New Jersey teams just completely falter down the stretch and lose their opportunity at March Magic. And yeah, I really, really, really hope Monmouth makes it because this team has been fun to watch all year, and they've played good teams like Seton Hall, Syracuse. They played Princeton. They've played like even LaSalle is not an awful team out of the A10. They played some good teams and they competed hard. So I really, really want to see this team give themselves a shot at madness.
I appreciate you throwing me the lob on the transition there because Princeton is going to be the next team I wanted to talk about. I made the trip up to Yale today, and I've been following them more closely than any other team this season. And it's a season that was weird from the very jump. You have your best player, Xavier Lee, transferring out to Florida to go be a star there and help lead them to an SEC championship, regular season championship. And then you have Caden Pierce, who decides to take a bit of a different route than Xavier Lee and grab that Princeton degree and then head out to Purdue to go play some Big Ten basketball next season. And you have no seniors left on this team, and Billy was there alongside me last week against Dartmouth on what should have been senior night. And there's no one to celebrate, not even a student manager, as Coach Mitch Henderson told us. And today, I mean, it's about what you would expect from a team like Yale versus a team like Princeton. It's a 78 to 53 win for Yale at home to take full control of that Ivy regular season championship. But we talked to Mitch about this last week, and I kind of confirmed a lot of what we were talking about last week again this week. What the future is going to look like for this team next year. Um, and he really talked a lot about how this is one of the funnest teams he's ever coached, and he wants to keep working with this team. But he also said that this spring and summer are going to be some of the most influential kind of periods he's ever had with any team that he's coached at Princeton, because this is a team now where you're going to have Jackson Hickey and Dalen Davis and Hammond as seniors, not Hammond, Huggins as seniors next year. You're going to have Jack Stanton hopefully back and fully healthy alongside CJ Happy. Of course, they did miss Dalen Davis also at points this season. You're going to have Landon Clark, who I think really exploded this season as the best freshman on this team. You're going to have him moving up to be a sophomore, bringing in whatever freshman recruits they may have, and I think they actually did have a couple of good ones from like the little amount of research that I've done so far. But next year is going to be a really interesting year because we're going to see if in this modern day and age, if not using the transfer portal, if completely running it back with the same team, if real developmental basketball works in this age of NCAA basketball.
Man, Princeton, they're like top five academically. That's one thing going for them because if you're not Xavier Lee, you're not Caden Pierce, you're not like a Malik Mack from, I believe, Harvard it was. Right? These kids are gonna stay for the education. They're gonna obviously play basketball while you're at it. So, team like a bit bringing back your guys won't be too hard. And like, it's not like they're gonna go leave for a bag in the portal because no one's gonna offer them the bag first because they're not high level players right now at least. And why leave and get? They're gonna get their degree or something at least. So that's the one thing I think Mitch Henderson doesn't have to worry about. So right now, season's over. tomorrow. I mean, to give them a week off for spring break or whatever, and get right back to work, just building these players, developing them, and building chemistry. Because year one, winning 10 games or whatever isn't awful. If in year two, if you win 18, if you win 19, that's where improvement shows. And I think this Henderson can do it. He's proven he can do it.
This team is going to be good, really good next year. I am putting all my chips in on Princeton basketball. Mark my words, Jackson Hickey's Ivy League Player of the Year next year. So you could put my stamp on it right now. I've seen enough of that man play ball. This is a pure three-level score. This is gonna be my Jackson Hickey bit right now. He can get to the rim. He can shoot it from deep. They even set up plays where he can score in the post and at the free throw line, and they just clear out. And they say, "Go to work. Just go. Get a bucket." And he does. He plays hard. He plays the second most minutes per game in the Ivy League. So he's out there hustling, getting rebounds. The guy is a stud. It's not enough said. He's insane, but he's not like insane to where like I feel like he gets a bag somewhere else or like he goes to like he does the Xavier Lee route. But he is an elite player. He should finish in like at least second team All Ivy, if not first team. I'm telling you, I don't really care. Dalen Davis. Dalen Davis has to stay. If he stays healthy enough, he's a solid player. He brings a different change of pace to this team, where he's an elite scorer. He can get to the rim. He shot really well from deep this year. He's good about getting around screens. He's just a solid like different change of pace, and the rest of the team plays connected. Jacob Huggins, actually, I thought took insane leaps this year. So for someone who's kind of like all over the place, really reminded me this is going to be terrible of Nerlens Noel and of just how frantic he was and how he couldn't grab onto the ball. But then he really stepped up. The game that we were at, he had his first career double-double against a Division I opponent.
Yeah.
The guy can play. The guy can ball. Peyton Seals, who didn't play a lot, I think this kid is actually going to be a lot. He's going to be a really important piece for them next year because he's smart. You could tell he's a smart player, and it's Princeton, so oh my gosh, a smart player. Yes, he's a really cerebral, smart player. And then if we were to make an all Jersey athletic team, Malik Abdullahi would better be on that list. Malik Abdullahi is a specimen. This guy jumps out of the gym. He's got long friggin' arms. The guy's like Slenderman out here. Like, he is an insane player. He just has to get a little bit of offense going because, gosh, that shot is ugly from deep. No disrespect. But this team just stay together. Maybe, I don't know, if they get a freshman who can, like, maybe orchestrate the offense a little bit more. I know it's really, like, it's like everyone touches the ball. It's obviously the Princeton offense, like, you don't really need that. But a few more little tweaks, maybe a little more size. CJ Happy can get more consistent from deep because he's really just that stretch four. That's kind of like his role. If he's not hitting threes, then it's tough to see a real role for him. But man, this Princeton team, I'm so high on this Princeton team, man. Like, I really think next year, like, if Jackson Hickey takes that leap, that I know he can take that leap and just stay healthy, they're going to be a really good team in the Ivy. I couldn't be more excited for them going forward.
Yeah, I think Malik actually took two threes pretty early on in the game today, and they were not particularly.
Oh, it was ugly. But listen, like, we can build on something though.
Yeah,
it's okay.
For sure. I just want to kind of read this one quote that Mitch said today. I asked him about kind of what the goal of this season was, but then also does he still feel that this is a beginning rather than an end? Because it's the end of the season, but you're running back the same team. And he said, we were identifying right away who can help us. And in the spring and in the summer, if you have everyone coming back, generally you already know some things. There are some things that are set. Then we had some injuries and we had to redefine the whole season. So, yeah, we're not going to the transfer portal. There's no one coming in. We've made that very clear, and that's how it's going to be. And then he talked about how it's the beginning of spring. It's the beginning of an era where you're bringing back all these players for the first time ever, and you're going to be one of, if not the only team to do that in the entire country. Um, and man, I'm excited for next year. I'm totally on board with everything you're saying. Um, Depending on how screwed they get with the non-conference schedule, because this year it was, I don't know if I enjoyed what happened there.
Sucked.
Um, Hopefully, they're carrying a bit more energy and momentum into Ivy play.
Yep.
All right, we're kind of getting to the end here. Last real team we have to talk about that's still out there playing games. I believe their last game is tomorrow. Dylan's getting excited because he finally gets to uh, talk about his favorite team. It's going to be the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, who are going to be playing at home tomorrow versus the Penn State Nittany Lions. I started watching Rutgers football this year. I got so hyped during that Penn State game when they came out and KJ Duff had the catch of the year. And then they still lost, and then they didn't make a bowl game, and that was the whole thing. Maybe this time Rutgers will be able to get one last laugh over Penn State tomorrow.
A few things. I was there at that Penn State game. Bittersweet. I mean, that was an insane game, but like, yeah. Back to basketball. I don't know what is with this season, but like, I just don't think we're this bad. I don't know why, but we're not a 12-win team. I don't feel like we are. The amount of close games we've had is unreal. USC, Michigan State game one, game two, fluke. Yeah, I want to touch on that game. First of all, the Michigan State fans that are calling Rutgers classless and stuff. I mean, the amount of people that I've seen on Twitter, on social media, calling them classless for still continuing to play 100%, even though Izzo took out his put his seniors in to do the kissing the court in like the tradition. I'm sorry, great tradition. I love it. I think it's one of the best standing traditions in college basketball to this date. Come on, like this is you're playing a 12-win team that has nothing to lose. You're up 15 with a minute and 15 to go, and sorry that we go on a run and cut it to two at one point. You were one missed free throw away from giving Tariq Francis a shot at tying it, and go to overtime. So that is one that was infuriating because I don't know who like what entitlement you think you'd have just because you're a top three seed in the Big Ten and you want to do your kissing the court thing. This come on, stop with that. But second off, we're 12 and 18. We're a win actually tonight right now. Northwestern taking on Minnesota. A loss for Northwestern guarantees us the 14th seed in the Big Ten tournament. Avoid playing the first round. I don't know why. I just don't think I really think we can go on a run here. Give us a favorable matchup. Give us USC. Give us I don't know. Give us like USC or UCLA in the first round, or I don't think we're gonna get one. I think USC's maybe. Give us that team. We can win that. Give us Wisconsin in the second round. Give us Purdue in the second round or UCLA. Winnable. And like we have gone neck and neck with every team in the league practically besides like the top dogs, and we haven't lost to any teams below us. So this is a gap year. By no means is this like oh it was a year where anyone think we're gonna do good. Ace, Dylan, Harper, and Bailey they leave, right? We're basically at square one. We rebuild this wacky team that's led by like a bunch of freshmen, this random guard that you pull out in the NJIT who turns into a superstar for us. And now you're going in with Steve Pikiell's guaranteed to stay. They've already said that. Kelly's didn't put that out there. They're self-proclaimed money in this program, which I still can't get my head around because we never have money. And you're building around two freshmen, Lino Mark and Caden Powers, that claim they want to stay. You never know in the era of NIL. But and if Tariq Francis stays, he doesn't go to Pitt or something and do his like family like legacy or whatever, relive that. If he stays, this is a team that is not a March Madness team next year, but a good team. So I'm hoping that they can build a little momentum here, pick up a good win on senior night tomorrow, celebrate Agbole, which will be the only one walking out, I believe. Just yeah, I mean everyone hates on him, but I actually like him. I think he's just always he's a hard worker. He's learned basketball at a late age. He's just steadily gotten better here at the program. He's a tank to look at. I mean, I watched him courtside once against Central Connecticut. Not a fun game, but well, he's just a unit on the court. Um, But yeah, take care of business tomorrow. Get that 14 seed and let Tariq Francis do something great in the Big Ten tournament. Give him his Corey Sanders moment from 2018 or something. Let him do what he does. But yeah, no, this team is, so I don't know why, it has some special place in my heart. It's like one of the first years of Rutgers basketball that I haven't been stressed out watching all the games, feeling like we have expectations. I think this is a year where just let enjoy the game of basketball and we'll see if we can do something because yeah, I don't know. That's just my little spiel on Rutgers here.
At every game that I've been to, I've had the pleasure of up with the managers, and every single time I become a huge Rutgers fan. I was at the Penn game, the Oregon game, the Northwestern game too. So I've been to some great games, like some really fun ones that came down to the like Tariq Francis coming stepping up and drilling the game winner against Penn was electric. An OT, a win against Oregon, that was electric. So it definitely has some fun stuff. And listen, Tariq Francis, when you guys get Tariq Francis, that guy was the leading scorer in America East. That guy was a hooper. Like, I mean, it definitely took him some time. He had to come off the bench, and he was kind of a Jersey Mike's Arena merchant. He had like, I think his when you look at his splits from home and away, oh my gosh, it's crazy. But he's a scorer. The guy knows how to hoop. It is tough because a bully, you love the guy. You love the guy. It just sometimes he just gets out of the game. Like he just gets subbed out. Like because he just can't guard. Like he's just not a great rim protector. They don't have a lot of great rim protection. Bryce Dortch, well, it plays hard. He plays hard, and I'll leave it at that. I'm a big
Yeah.
Lino Mark guy too. I love Lino Mark. Like the guy is one of the few players who puts consistent rim pressure. Is it reckless? Yes, but at least it's something. Their whole diet of shot selection is mid-range shots, either by KP and Tariq Francis. And Tariq Francis is a like the guy's like SGA. He's got the SGA bag going for him, and I mean that in a compliment too. Like he knows how to get to the free throw line. That's a skill. I'm on that side of the argument for getting to the free throw line. It's just they don't make it easy. This team doesn't
No,
make it
never.
easy. They never make it easy. I'm watching the games and I feel like they never hit the roll man. They never hit the guy getting to the basket. But it is a fun team. I'll give you that. I always feel like there's a chance that they can win this one or they'll pull it out, but then they just like they blow an assignment on defense and Pike was always going to get them to guard and they'll guard pretty well. But then their shot diet and their shot selection just is not good. And they don't make it easy for themselves. I said it before, but it is been the biggest thing for Rutgers this season.
Yeah, Pico's just never really adapted to the new way of college basketball. It's not the mid range, it's the three pointer, and it's the paint and it's the 3 point line. And if you're inside the mid range, if you're taking more mid ranges than you are 3 pointers, you're doing something wrong. I don't care if Francis is one of the best midi, has one of the best midi pull ups in the whole nation. Got to take more threes. And that's one thing that Pico's has never done. I was reading this article, it's NJ.com. Former Penn State guard, you guys might know the name, Miles Dredd, maybe from 2020, 2021. Beast for the Nittany Lions, right? He came out and said on an interview talking about just talking about basketball, and he mentioned Rutgers, and he was saying, yeah, we've every time I've played the Scarlet Knights, something along the lines of this, like they had no offense. They was predictable, easy to defend, and it was all iso ball. And I was speaking to my dad about this. It's just literally the epitome of Rutgers basketball. He said the epitome of Rutgers basketball in one quote. That's what it's been like. We have no offense. We rely on Geo Baker, right? Ron Harper Jr., Dylan Harper, now Francis. ISO ball the entire game. If they're hot, we'll win the game. If they're cold, we'll lose. They defend 1 through 5 pretty well every year, right? That doesn't win you games anymore. And I think Pikel really, really needs to like he's getting critics now. People are all over him with this. Like ever since the news of he's back, they're like, "This you have a year now. You're either good and you're good and you stay, or you're bad and you're out. Figure out your offense. Keep your good ISO ball scores. Don't get rid of that offense by no means. Just get some plays. Because you're talking about the rollers. That's one on the players because they can't pass the ball for the first place and they also can't see the roller. But it's also on Pico because Pico doesn't teach that. Pico doesn't nail it down like hit the roller. He's like, oh, set up high ball screen and either find your jumper or do this. Like that's not an offense. That's like one pick and roll. That's not how you win a game. We're playing at the Big Ten level. This is not 13 under basketball like in the rec. Like so yeah, I really think that Pico has 1 year to fix this. But I think the core that we have right now is really good. I really think it's good. And I think Dortch is incompetent right now, but that doesn't mean he's incompetent forever. He doesn't have to go down the Agbole line. He can go down the Cliff Amore line. He can go down other paths. There's players on this team with potential through the roof. Hayden Powers, don't do it. Don't pull a Lathan Somerville. Don't leave because we know you can, but you're also going to stay and you're going to be a starter next year on a team that hopefully will have the money to go get a guy to play alongside you and Francis and Lino Mark. And like, yeah, and Dylan Graham was a disappointment this year. Everyone knows that, but I wanted to keep him because I think the potential with him, the athleticism, the frame is really good, and I think that he's a Big Ten player, as he's shown in his freshman campaign. I think he was just thrown into a role this year that he wasn't prepared for. But yeah, I think this team is going to be good next year, kind of on that Princeton route, hopefully.
So would you rather them do so you rather them return most of the guys than take the Seton Hall route of wiping out the entire roster?
Oh, not fully. I never said, yeah, no, I never said I want to keep Dortch. Sorry, I take that back. If I were to pick the guys to keep,
Yeah,
I'd
give
keep
me
France.
give me five guys max.
I'd give you. This is five guys that if you're guaranteed to keep, it'd be Francis, Powers, Lino. Um, I if does what's his um
Yeah, Darren Buchanan Jr.,
yeah,
June.
not sure about the June bug. I'm not gonna lie. He plays with crazy heart, and I love him for that. I think he really represents Rutgers well. Being reckless. I'm like going pass the ball, and like whenever he's having, I feel like he's not really like the smartest basketball player. But yeah, I'd give you him. I'd give you Grant, and then I would say bye to. Oh no Buchanan. I'd give you Zerno. I think Zerno's a sharpshooter. I think you need to keep him. I'd say bye to Battleout, Dennis Battleout in a heartbeat. I say bye to Dortch, have to give him the go, right? Ogbole is a senior. Some of these, like Javante Ware, really doesn't play this much. If he wants to stay, he can stay. But if he wants to go, let him. You need to narrow down on a center. I think a lot of your budget goes to a good center because we haven't had that since Cliff. And then the other ones go to like either a sharpshooter or some more size at the filler position. Because if Francis stays, that is your point guard for the year. If Caden stays, that is your shooting guard. You have like I think you need that three or four, and you need that five. And I think that there you have a competent Big Ten roster.
You also got Jamichael Davis, who's also a junior, who he's a little undersized too. Like I also worry about the point guard. They always look smaller on their in the front court too, and in the back court. Excuse me.
I think he's the guy that's going to stay no matter what. He's
Yeah,
just
'cause he's
Rutgers
a
through and
captain.
through.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's
a
Rutgers
captain.
through and through. He's not. I don't think that's one Steve Pikiel's to worry about.
Yeah.
He's going to walk next year on senior night. I'm not worried about that.
Yep.
Well, it's so interesting to me how you talk about Rutgers, Dylan, because I think that it's unfortunately you usually have to be more critical than supportive of most of the teams that they've been putting out. The baseball team is actually looking pretty good this year. And speaking of baseball, right now the USA is actually down to Great Britain with Clay Holmes on the mound, which can only end badly.
Cardiac
So
play.
so I'd say let's get it wrapped up. One more team, and the most disappointing team by far, one of the worst teams in all of Division One basketball this year. And truthfully, and on a more serious note, we don't know what the future actually holds for the university or the program as a whole. But Ryder, who at this point is scheduling games just to get those bye games and get some more money towards the program and the university, and it's not really great for the MAAC brand either. But I mean, you have Flash Burton, who I mean, he's going to get out of there after this year probably, assuming he gets offers from somewhere. But it's just such a rough situation. So, like, do you have any idea of really what the plan is going forward, or is it going to be more of keeping this kind of uh, rough, rough non-conference schedule into losing all of the MAAC games?
I mean, This is a tough team. Like it's like right, like they have a between Flashburn, like Zion Cruz, like they were actually good scorers. Like they could actually play. They had a guy named Caleb Smith too, who was a solid. Every Jersey team has like that one Josh Hart. I'll just call him Josh Hart archetype that just crashes the glass, and they're good hustle, good energy. But yeah, this is like disappointing stuff. I was talking to someone who went to Ryder and who was a part of their radio and involved in their broadcast, and they were talking about like Kevin Baggett, like he's probably gone. Like who like they want to bring in, like he was thinking like maybe you bring in someone who was a Ryder graduate. I think he played in there's someone who he named like played in the league or something along those lines. But it's a tough scene. I mean, like scheduling these late games. I mean, I don't even know what to make of the situation. They had a really abysmal year. Funny enough, they actually beat St. Peter's, which was crazy in itself, but that's just college basketball. I really have no other take with this team. It was a really rough year. They could be completely changed next season. Apparently, like coaches like Coach Baggett had some really tough press conferences. Obviously, I mean, really tough season. I don't see a. I don't know where it goes. Really, it's up in the air completely.
Yeah, not really, really not tapped into the Bronx. Kind of started off trying to follow them at first, but once the season spiraled downwards, didn't lose interest. I just kind of didn't really follow them as much as the other teams. But yeah, no, I don't. I'm with you. I don't see really a clear path for this team. Just there's no direction. I think too many players are going to transfer. Yeah, it's an uphill battle.
Well, we have successfully made it through our longest episode ever, and for good reason, because this is going to be a busy week of college basketball moving forward. Again, you're going to have Monmouth tomorrow in the CAA tournament. NJIT, I believe, are going to play on the 10th up at Vermont. You have Rutgers for their final game tomorrow. And just to recap, that's going to be the end of the Princeton season, end of Ryder, end of St. Peter's, and end of FDU as it stands right now. Seton Hall is going to be also looking to make a run in the Big East tournament at MSG. But thank you so much, Billy, for hanging with us for over an hour on this Saturday night as we head into some great basketball. I hope you enjoy your trip down to Washington, D.C. It's a great arena down there. And let's hope that Monmouth does the state of New Jersey a big favor.
Let's go Hawks, baby! I'm excited to see them play.
Yeah, Dylan, any final words?
No, get one team in. Get one team in to March.
Just one, baby. Hey, thanks you guys so much, though. Seriously, it's been a lot of
Yeah.
fun talking ball.
Well, I appreciate you coming on and again hanging with us for so long. Unfortunately for me, Billy, we talked about this. I love baseball, and it's already baseball season for me. So I'm going to go enjoy some WBC action. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in to Turnpike Takes, and check out GardenStateSports.net for the articles as well. Have a good night and enjoy some March basketball.